I join one listen, set up YouTube here. So now, I can join Mr. Archie. Walex, gbogbo Texas, Adékúnlé, mo kí gbogbo yín. Gbogbo tó bá sọ pé Yorùbá nation lè lọ́nà ọdún yìí, ẹ lọ sọ fún wọn pé kó tutù ẹ̀ dànù. Kẹ̀sà àti rí lẹ́tà tí British kọ. Mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí láàárọ̀ but apparently mo jí mo tún padà lọ sùn. So but a ṣe program lé lórí ní títí ìrọ̀lẹ́ kò tí bá ti parí Star Radio and àwọn engagement a fẹ́ lọ ṣe. But lágbọ́rọ̀ Ọlọ́run a sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Mo kúkú ti sọ tẹ́lẹ̀ pé Britain ò ní support wa. So mo kíyàn ìyá mi Fọlákẹ́ ẹ̀ka àrọ̀mà. So my join studio mo kàn fẹ́ sáré set up our platforms to go quickly so that my lè focus. Ẹni bá ń dúró pé Britain ló máa fún wa ní Yorùbá nation, Biafra nation, orí ìyẹn la máa jókòó sí forever. So àwa ni ká lọ tidy up, ká get the hell out of the shit country. Tàbá declare tó bá wọn Britain kò support wa, tó bá wọn Britain kò má support wa, problem tí wọ́n ní kò ń ṣe problem tiwa. I need right to self-determination. So, and that's the most important thing. So let's join Archie Skype. I just join Archie. I then set up KOIKIMEDIA Odùduwà. Kí ẹ náà máa lọ lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́. Káwọn èèyàn máa wò wá káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé. Ẹ káàárọ̀, àkójúmọ́ ṣe dáadáa la jí. Alhamdulillah.
And the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 8 minutes past 11 the time. Bear with me. I think I need some water. But hey, I've got the one and only, the White Lion with me this morning in our North London studios where I'm going to be bringing you updates from Nigeria. Yomi, good morning.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the world, and welcome again to Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Exactly 8 minutes past, and I'll come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie. And good morning once again to those that have joined us on our sister platform. We're streaming on almost 5 different channels on the MixLR, on Instagram, and they are all waiting for all the update as usual from the one and only Mr. Archie, Frank, and myself.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Well, as usual, I woke up this morning, in the hope, excited as usual, and but sometimes the body is then a little bit tired, so I had to, literally go back to bed because I thought maybe I needed a little bit more sleep, and that took me back to bed. So, but I'm doing very well.
Good. I also had to go to bed. Well, after I did a dawn program production, and I was like, gosh, but well, we are here because we are happy to come and meet you, our lovely family, as I've said. Yes, we love you all to bits. We share the same idea and principles, and therefore that's why we are able to come together. And somebody will ask you the question. So if somebody is put together or merged to become a family or a couple, and it's not working, what do they do? That's a question that everybody keep on asking. What do you think? All right then. Updates from Nigeria. Mr. Lime again, I'm not London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Now let's quickly touch down on what happened on Niger Voices, because a few of our audience and our viewers were not on yesterday. But what was discussed?
Niger Voices, for the benefit of those that are probably not aware, comes up on Starr Radio UK every Wednesday from 6 p.m. up to 8:30 p.m. We discuss issues affecting Nigerians and the indigenous people. It's a program that gives us all the latest news, in details. And yesterday, we were looking into the education sector in Nigeria. Remember that a lot of the students have been away for more than 8 months, and the question is, asking them to resume back, and then straight away, having an exam next month. How visible is that someone that have been out of school for more than 8 months and then return back? It seems there's something skeptical about that the government is not really telling us. But we did discuss that. We focus back again on those issues that are still burning. As today, remember, is 2 years that the people that were campaigning, protesting, were eventually killed by the military, sent by the federal government, and likewise the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, not just only in Lagos, because we also have Oyigbo, that a lot of people got killed as well. So 2 years down the line, nothing has literally changed. We talked about Jumoke Oyeleke, and likewise, we went on to finish the program, with the right to protest, and also enlighten more people back home that it is your fundamental human right to say, if you don't want to be part of a country, it is not a crime, but it has to be done in a civilized and a legal way.
Okay. Well, listeners, so that is what it is for you. Those of you who missed out on the Niger Voices yesterday, it comes your way every Wednesday at 18 hours BST or GMT +1. I mean, by the end of the month, we'll be going to GMT. So it will be 18 hours GMT. So it will be what? That would be what time in Nigeria?
Well, it's the same time at the moment with us.
Yeah, okay. All right then. So listeners, that is for your benefit. All right then. So now let's move on to some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria. And first of all, NSAS recession will arrest participants if please. Now, interestingly, I was looking at that story and I was asking myself the question, so what? Are they not going to allow people to call it celebrate? Allow people, please them nicely, let them just go about their demonstration, because I know that people are allowed under the Constitution or democracy, this dispensation, to go and demonstrate. Now, are they saying that they're not going to allow people to demonstrate? Yeah.
Well, demonstration is always a problem for the government of Nigeria, and it has always been like that, even during the military era. And you would thought that now that we are in a civilian era, it will be a little bit lenient because of the democracy that we have. But that doesn't seem so, because as Nigeria police deploy heavy personnel, to Lekki Toll Gate as celebrity fires, Mr. Macron and others gear up for the hashtag NSAS memorial procession. I could tell you literally that Lekki Toll Gate is completely packed as we speak right now. I mean, I was watching, some of the feed coming from the, different media back in Nigeria, and as more Nigerians are still asking the question 2 years down the line, the outcome of whatever happened. But like I said right now, a lot of vehicles is driving past Lekki Toll Gate, and it seems already, I could see some tear gas, and it looks like the Nigerian police are not giving any chance to protesters to gather around Lekki Toll Gate. Let us remind, those that probably, will not be aware of the Lekki Toll Gate. This was Nigerians, complaining about the, the brutality of the SARS, a special anti-robbery squad that has become a special anti-robbery to the Nigerian citizen, whether extorting their, their vehicles, collecting cash at the ATM, and eventually killing individuals and dumping their bodies away. So it got to a state that Nigerians were saying enough is enough, and they literally had to now, come up to say that we are not going to take that anymore. So eventually led to a lot of protests across different parts of Nigeria. But after almost, some time, the government thought, it was not worth allowing the protest to continue. And the one that was the pinpoint of the protest ground was eventually, brought down by the government, in the middle of the night, where people were killed, bodies were taken away, and that end the NSAS saga And that became a very bad image to the federal government, where almost every part of the world, people started making a lot of complaint. There was protests all over the world. In London here, we saw a couple of protests as well. But there was quite a lot of investigation. There was inquiries. It led to where the parliament had about over 100,000 petition signature that eventually had a sitting in London, where the parliament also revealed that the British government was also paying some kind of support, to help the the Nigerian police in a way. But eventually, down the line, nothing has changed. 2 years now today, NSAS memorial continue in Lagos State and across the state in Nigeria. Okay, we lost the audio again.
All right, I think we have him back on. But whilst I try to get an image on, Alonji he says, good morning, my good people, Mr. Archie and Mr. Koiki. Now, good morning to you, Alonji. We hope that you are doing very, very well. And I thank God Nigeria has not happened to you wherever you might be. But let's come back to the story that we're looking at 2 years on the Lekki toll gate shooting that took place. Now, first of all, we talked about the fact that, you are giving report there, looking at visual that is coming your way pertaining to police firing tear gas there. So that's right, just trying to disperse the protesters. Now, the Commission of Inquiry that was set up, that came out with a report, a white paper. Now, the report that came, what has been done and what has been said about it? Because I remember that whether the information minister, whether Laya Mohammed or one of them were saying that, whatever happened, nobody was killed. There were lots of things that went on. But we thought that the Lagos governor was going to do something about it. Now, what has been done or said so far about it?
Well, that is the question in the minds of millions of Nigerians across the world. Exactly 2 years ago, the tragic event that set up the Lekki toll gate in Lagos aside as a historic memento of all sorts, a crowd of unharmed youth. And let me just give us a background of the kind of crowd that we saw during these almost couple of weeks and months. We're going to bring that image up in just about a few minutes. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. We eventually saw this crowd that was asking and demanding that they want changes, reform. The government did everything during that period to put those reform out, but it was not satisfactory enough to some of the youth. The youth called to the end of the police brutality. They advocate police reform. We remember that we were talking about police reform reorientation yesterday during the verdict of the Jumoke Oyeleke, that the court, the magistrate Fadei actually asked the Lagos State government to advise the federal government of retraining, because you have to keep retraining the officers. But again, under the hashtag NSAS, but after shooting, hoodlums also took part. But these are what the narratives that the government is putting out, that the hoodlums was also using that as a kind of messing around and locking down an important toll gate area. But it ended up to be a very bad blood one, because people were killed, bodies have not been found, families have been asking the federal government. The question you have asked is what has been the outcome of some of the inquiries, of this such of magnitude? But up to today, there has not been much, from the government, apart from the fact that, we saw inquiries taking place, recommendation has been done. But as we speak today, not much have been said, to the outcome of that, inquiries that was made, from the those that were setting up the panel. But as Nigerians that wants to vote, because not every Nigerian is interested in 2023, especially those that are campaigning for the self-determination. But it seems it's going to be a very challenging one now, that APC would have to face most of the the consequence, because APC is currently in the power. And I'm not sure whether the youth are happy with the PDP, but it seems we've seen more side to the Labour Party, Peter Obi. So could this also be something, the Lekki tollgate issue, have an impact in the presidential election, as we can see in Nigeria? Because remember that situation around the world always determines certain things that happen prior before election. We saw that here in UK as well. We've seen that around the world, and those in power get punished if you have done something that have really upset the citizens. And one of the most important part of Nigeria in 2020 was the EndSARS. I mean, I remember, at about almost 7 p.m., I started receiving calls, from around the world that we need to go live. We need to start talking about it, that the Nigerian government is literally killing Nigerians, that we're holding the Nigerian flag. I mean, it has never been done, it has been done in the past, but to think about it, that in the 21st century, that the military will literally go to a protest ground and start killing Nigerians, was something that has become a psychological effect to a lot of Nigerians back home.
And especially when some are still alluding that nobody was killed, and no families have come to claim that their family members have died. I mean, has there been any reaction from the military or I suppose, or the security agencies from that incident as well, that statement?
Well, I mean, the security agency have denied continuously, that they have, nothing, to do with the EndSARS. And but as much as they've always said so, a lot of Nigerians disagree with that. That the mission there, was not just to kill, but was also to stop, something that will create fear. And that fear, has gone ahead, till then. I mean, the reason why even those that are saying that, the Yorubas that wants to come out for a super rally, is that something that they, we link to, the EndSARS? Because that question was asked, when Professor Akintoye was speaking, to some of those Yoruba in about 2 weeks ago, regarding what we saw during the EndSARS. Are we going to see something similar to that? A lot of people are very concerned, but it is assured that whatever happened during the EndSARS, is not expected to happen, during these Yoruba Nations rally.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. 11:22 the time. Call it 11:23, and it's Starr Radio UK, the morning show. Updates from Nigeria with me, Olaimi Koiki, in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios. Now, let's move on to some of the other stories. Yesterday, we had reports that para athletes were also demonstrating, and the federal government, is accusing them of disrupting peace. So, what have been done to them? Were they beaten up? Were they pushed? What happened to them?
Well, again, you wonder that those that are have a bit of disability challenges will be given a bit of sympathy, but not in Nigeria. The federal government, through the sport ministry yesterday, responded to a petition that was received by para athletics, chiding them from disturbing public peace. That's the way the federal government put it. The athletes are protested in Lagos, in Surulere. Again, I started receiving messages of tear gas being thrown at people with disability challenges. I mean, imagine, the London Metropolitan Police putting out tear gas, to those that have disability challenges. I could think of, resignation happening this morning. But, this is Africa, this is Nigeria, that, lives is not as important, just as Jumoke Oyeleke was killed by the military, by the security, weapon, as concluded in that message we gave yesterday. The exclusion of their sport from the upcoming National Sport Festival is the reason why the para-athletics have come out to protest. They carried a placard and vowed to block all the federal roads and the National Stadium complex if the government failed to respond to their demand. Government is not going to respond to demand, because government are always adamant, and the politicians and the government seems not to be caring about the citizens, as we've seen it, continuously. But the 2022 NSF, the 21st edition, that is scheduled to hold on the 28th of November to December 10 in Asaba, in Delta State. But in response to their petition, the government described the protests as unfortunate and advised the athletes to channel their grievances appropriately instead of disturbing the public peace. once again, no, it's not feeding back to me.
Starr Radio, okay? Your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to 11:26. And there's a report of a young person, 15-year-old, who is missing in the UK. And it's very, very important for us because as a radio station, we do our best to make sure that we bring you every information pertaining to those of us in the diaspora and back home as well. So I'm just going to go straight to Yomi for him to tell us more about that story and then how we can, or wherever you are, help in finding out this young girl. Yomi.
Yes, the report came to us yesterday of a missing Faith, last seen wearing a black tracksuit somewhere in Canning Town area here in London. She was last seen at about 3:30 p.m. She's age 15, height about 5'6". If anyone, or you've seen, if seen or you happen to know any information regarding Faith whereabout, please contact the police straight away or contact this following number, 074 822 66002. I repeat that number again, 074 822 66002 or 078 83247 again, missing Faith went missing, and this message, I believe, is something that is very, very important and concerned to a lot of us when we hear this news. It's not the first time that we get news of missing people. Some of them do come back, and some of them becomes a very sad story. So we pray, as Faith is missing, let us remember in the prayer to return back to the family that are waiting for her as quickly as possible. Once again, missing Faith was somewhere around Canning Town, which is southeast, east of London. If you've come across her, you've seen her. She was last seen wearing a black tracksuit at about 3:30 p.m. On the 18th, and that means that we are now about almost 48 hours that we have not seen Faith. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I come back again to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. If you have any information pertaining to missing Faith, please let us know, or let the numbers that Yomi put across, contact them, and it will be a great help. I know the police are doing their work, but we can, as a community, also help in that part as well. It is Starr Radio UK. Now let's move on to some other stories, Yomi.
Well, some of the other stories, Shashore, the former Lagos Justice Commissioner, is charged for multi-million naira money laundering. He has hired 4 senior advocates of Nigeria to battle the anti-graft agency EFCC. Shashore is said to be arraigned before Justice Chukwuechukwu Anika of the Federal High Court in Lagos this Thursday. Is the former Attorney General and a Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State, Mr. Olashupo Shashore, who allegedly obtained $2 million from Process and Industrial Development Limited, a British Virgin Island engineer firm, to frustrate a case against Nigeria, has now hired 4 senior advocates of Nigeria to lead his defense. Shashore is set to be arraigned before the Justice Chukwuemeka of the Federal High Court Lagos later on today. According to the city lawyer leading the defense team of Shashore, is a law reform advocate, and meanwhile, a bail application showed that the legal team for the embattled senior lawyer will seek bail for personnel recognition for Shashore to allow him to go home. We'll wait and see what will be the outcome of this. Quite a lot of different, situation in Nigeria, as we can always hope that justice will always be served. But, when it comes to corruption, we do know that Nigeria is number one. And I remember David Cameron saying, during the, one of the visits to, UK by the president, that Nigeria is fantastically corrupt country, and the amount of money that has been moved out of Nigeria has been done so in Europe, like in UK, that would have shrink the whole economy. So let's take you back to just quick of the more other headline because of the time constraint already. Nigerian government goes to Supreme Court, appeal judgment freezing IPOB. That is the headline coming. Kogi government dragged Dangote Group to court over Obajana cement plant. It's coming from the headline as well, this morning. Again, NSAS memorial procession set to hold in Nigeria, UK, Canada, South Africa, and others. And I'm aware that people will be gathering at the Nigerian embassy at number 9 Northumberland later on this evening from about 6 p.m. And we'll be going to be following that as well. 2 years after NSAS protests, over 40 protesters are still languishing in the Nigerian prison. Well, it's not just that. In the last 3 years, we have been listening to people that are in the prison. Some of them have been there for 13 years and they've never faced any court system. And you wonder why somebody can be kept in the prison for more than 10 years without being brought to the court, to either, given a guilty sentence or not found guilty. But if you have somebody, then that means your case will be fast tracked. But if you are nobody, you will remain in the prison cell. And quite a lot of people are reaching out to us that, even as much as they've committed a crime, they will still love to go and face the justice system to confirm they're innocent or they are guilty, rather than spending 10 years without no appearance at the court. So again, that is a very sad situation in Nigeria. So we're going to go straight to one more and then come back again to you, and then we're going to come back straight to this what is happening on the Twitter this morning. Once again, this is still your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Tinubu pacifies Adamu with campaign council deputy chairman. Flood 4,885 Ogun houses have now submerged. Federal government absolve Cameroon. The issue of flood that is now becoming a big problem. I mean, we have flood all over the world, but the one in Nigeria seems to be pinned between Cameroon and Nigeria. Let's take a look at what is happening. The federal government, through the Minister of Water Resources, Mr. Sulaiman Adamu, has said that the Lagodo Dam in Cameroon was not responsible for the flooding that has devastated part of Nigeria. This just as the government says no fewer than almost 5,000 houses were affected by the recent flooding alone in Ogun State, the southwest of Nigeria. Adamu made this known during 2023 budget defense of the ministry before the Senate in Abuja yesterday. The minister attributed the flood to water flowing from tribute of River Benue, like the River Castina and others, into River Benue due to downpour. So again, we pray for those that have died. 2 friends died together in Bayelsa, I think 2 days ago. And please, those of us that are still thinking that we can just go into the water with our Jeep, remember that this could not be something that you could joke with when it comes to flood, because you could lose control and you could end up become a victim as well. As we can tell this morning, Lekki massacre, hashtag Lekki massacre is trending. At again, number 2, hashtag NSAS Memorial 2 is trending as well. So that shows, the magnitude, like I say, police shoot tear gas to disperse the youth at the NSAS Memorial. And again, it's going to be another kind of a reminder, the brutality of the Nigerian police, as unable to manage protest ground as well. Again, the Yoruba Nation Club, I'll say it has been 2 years that the Nigerian government distably killed peaceful protesters while they sang the national anthem and waved the national flags. No justice, no peace. Hashtag Yoruba Ronu. Hashtag NSAS Memorial. Hashtag NSAS. With a picture of President Muhammadu Buhari that had a toothpick in his mouth, and that picture continued to trend as a president that cares less about his own citizens. Let's take a look at more as well. There was a letter that I received yesterday, and that letter, indicate that the British government would not support the breakup of Nigeria. I'm going to read that quickly, and then I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And this is exactly, the letter that came from the Nigerian unit, King Charles Street, London, the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. Thank you for your letter of the 6th of July to the Prime Minister about the recognition of the Yoruba nation. I am responding as a member of the Nigerian unit in the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. The UK government shares your concerns about incidents of intercommunal violence in Nigeria. Our assessment is that the key drivers for these are competition over land and natural resources, historically grievance and criminality. Religion can also be a factor. However, it is important to know that the perpetrators do not come from any one ethnic or religious group, and the devastating effects are felt by the communities of different faiths and ethnicities. The United Kingdom support local and national peace-building initiatives to tackle intercommunal violence, including through our work with the Nigerian Governors Forum and the National Peace Committee. Finally, you call for the United Kingdom government to recognize an independent Yoruba nation. The UK respects the territorial integrity of Nigeria. We encourage dialogue between the many ethnic groups, communities that make up and contribute to the strength and diversity of Nigeria. The UK support and respect the Nigerian government commitment to work for a secure and prosperous Nigeria for all its citizens, and is committed to working with the Nigeria in support of these objectives. And that is the message coming from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, the Nigerian unit this morning, or rather yesterday when we received a copy of this letter that was sent to us by one of our listeners. This is Starr Radio UK, and I'll now come back to you now in the studio, Mr. Archie. Okay, we lost this audio again.
Updates to approach that pertains to the Nigerian government that is going to the Supreme Court about is it IPOP? But I wanted to find out whether it's IPOP or Nnamdi Kanu's acquittal from by the appeals court. So so the Nigerian government going to the Supreme Court. Is it for Nnamdi Kanu or for the IPOP itself as a group?
Well, President Muhammadu Buhari government has appealed the judgment of the appeal court freeing the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, which is Nnamdi Kanu. So it is actually the federal government that is now going back, to the appeal court, to disagree with allowing Nnamdi Kanu to be set free. The government, in a motion for a stay of execution, yesterday has filed, at the nation's apex court, is asking the court to stop the execution of the appeal court judgment of October 13. The appeal court has acquitted the IPOP leader and barred any lower court from entertaining further charges against him. So it seems the only court that they can go back again now is the appeal court. So, we have to see what is going to happen now. In a 7-ground notice of appeal, which was filed by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. So you can say that the federal government is really adamant not to allow Nnamdi Kanu to be released. The federal government did not only falter the lower court decision, it also prayed that it should be set aside.
Mm-hmm. Well, interesting. We'll follow it very closely and we'll see what is going to go on. And then coming to the response from the Commonwealth as well, the Commonwealth Office, the Nigerian side. I'm looking at the case where we all see what is going on. But did they make any statement from that letter? I didn't hear that. But their concerns about let people have a referendum and let's see what they actually, the majority of people actually think or want. Did they say anything about that?
Well, that was not included in that letter. What they've actually specified in that letter that we just read is that these issues need to be resolved internally between the different ethnic groups. But how that is going to be resolved is a big question. But that is the view of the British Foreign and Commonwealth that was received yesterday.
But interestingly, you remember we had the Scottish who were allowed to have a referendum to decide that, well, they said they don't want to be part of it. Let's see whether majority of people wanted that. And they were allowed. We were in this country, we all saw it. Okay? Though they lost, those who were advocating for an independent Scotland lost. But at least everybody knows that they were given the opportunity. Now, even, was it last Monday, we had the Scottish leader going back to the House of their Parliament to table another petition for another referendum. So what are they saying?
Well, that has always been, I mean, the view of a lot of those that are the self-determination. Whether a referendum will be given, like in a Nigerian case, I'm not too sure whether we will get one, because the way the government has operated in the last couple of years. So in terms of a referendum, you will definitely, I mean, in as much as those countries, especially if we take the issue of the South Sudan, has led to a lot of debt onto the United Nations came in and then facilitated a referendum. A referendum will not be given in Nigeria by the government, but in terms of the United Nations will give one. But United Nations will not give one if there's no crisis and there's no pandemonium. They will have to wait until there's kind of pandemonium. But for those that are campaigning, I mean, they are, from the Biafra side, they've said it's either a referendum or no election. But from the Yorubas, they are saying that we're not even going to wait for any referendum. We will declare ourselves out of Nigeria and we will set up our own transition government. How all this is going to happen, we will all have to wait and see on Star Radio UK as those times are getting closer. So, so you can see there's two different sides out of it. Everybody knows, I mean, there's Ninas that is pushing, for the force majeure of the 1999 constitution that will lead to, either a new constitution that will work for everybody or a total dissolution of Nigeria. So there's three different groups operating on three different views of how they can, attain their self-determination. One is saying that, we will continue to engage, the international community, the Yorubas, and we will make a declaration out of Nigeria. The other is saying that if there's not going to be a referendum, we will not allow an election in the southeast. While those that are from the middle belt and those that are still following, whether from the Yoruba or the Biafra, onto the Ninas, believe that a force majeure will give us, what we want. Whether the federal government listens to all this is a different thing entirely, but the three are adamant that 2023 would not happen in their own territory.
But if the Yoruba nation makes that a statement declaring their breakaway from Nigeria, wouldn't it be illegal under the constitution now?
Well, I mean, they are looking at it from the point that, this is a territory that belongs to that particular indigenous people. It has nothing to do with Nigeria, because Nigeria was a creation of the British government. And we've seen right now from the content of what the Foreign and Commonwealth is saying that, yes, there is issue when it comes to, the intercommunion. But the question is, do you discuss with the terrorists, just as we saw yesterday, even though we didn't say that during the headline, yesterday 24 more people were killed in Benue State by the Fulani terrorists. So who do you really engage with? Do you engage with those that do not want peace, or do you go back to where it used to be before the, the colonial days? But these are the questions that the territory do not belong to Nigeria, in as much as Nigeria, was something that was put together, where 371. So it's a very, very tedious one. And this is why, those Yorubas wrote a letter to President Muhammadu Buhari, gave him every reasons why they can have a peaceful conversation. The presidency refused to answer that. And that is what is allowing the Yoruba to move to the next line that they are prepared to do in terms of a peaceful super rally. And there will be a declaration that will happen as well.
Okay, listen, we'll be following it very, very closely. But we hope that everything went along nicely. This Starr Radio UK. So, like KOIKIMEDIA in our North London studios, I'm actually here in the South studios. We'll go back to Yomi for what is happening on the social media platform. Over to you, sir.
Well, just brief a little bit because we did talk about what is happening on the social media. So let me just touch on one or two this morning. Looking at Simon Ekpa, we are going to write a joint rejoinder to the school, whoever they are in that house, responding back to the letter from the Foreign and Commonwealth with both in writing form and during the election. And that is coming, from Simon Ekpa as one of the, representative of the Biafra as well. Let's take a look at what more Nigerians are saying this morning, but the focus is all about the NSAS, which has literally gone past. The Financial Times is also saying it will be a major upset if a candidate from a small party won the contest for Nigerian presidency, given the strength of the country's established political party. But Peter Obi might do just that after exciting part of the delusion electorate. So it looks like Peter Obi is gaining the momentum, especially after a lot of Nigerians are angry. I'll take one more. Elochukwu said, Nigerian government ran to Supreme Court. Do not fear or worry, Biafrans. Nigerian government will be defeated right there in their Supreme Court. On that very day, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released and go home a free man. Write it down. It's coming up. Yesterday was exactly, I believe, if I'm right, that Delegiwa was killed, in a letter bomb that was sent, by the president, during the time he was alive. And yesterday, 19th of October was a very sad one. The journalist died at the age of 39 during an explosion from a corrupt and illegal dealings, that he was trying to investigate from the government. May he so rest in peace. So that is all we can take this morning because of the time constraint. But we'll be back again tomorrow. But for now, stay tuned more with Archie to take you through the rest of the program. My name is Olami Koiki, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now. All right, seems we're having a lot of communication back to the studio. As we come back a little bit to our own conversation as usual. Just a brief one because I have a lot to do. I'm at the program, Lori, the letter. A lot of people are well concerned about that letter, but I don't want us to be concerned. We should expect that already, that the British government is never going to give us, a Yoruba nation. I don't think anybody that is saying that British government are any Yoruba nation. You have to, be living in a different world entirely. But when Tobashi is British government, any Yoruba nation, then you have to live in a different world entirely. So, I know that is exactly what is going to happen, but it seems a lot of our people do not know that. A lot of our people are hoping and thinking that we will get Yoruba nation till British approve it. Are we really sure that British approve Adaduro? Some were concerned that those kind of letters should not be out there. I'm not sure why, but everybody has the right to their views and opinion. I've got a lot of people that have sent me a message and say, Koiki, irú letter yẹn bá máa kó jáde, bá máa fi síta. It is just what it is, that everybody knows the truth, that this country, Britain, kò fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó pín. Everybody knows that. But because we live in denial, that's our problem. It's good as we continue to go Kalong Pariwo níwájú Downing Street, lójoojúmọ́, nínú òtútù. I remember, how many weeks, ìgbà mi àníjú márùn-ún lọ, ìgbà mi mẹ́wàá. If we remain pé Kalong Pariwo, wọ́n kàn máa wò wá nínú camera, and they will tell us that we are all pé àmọ́ tá à ń ṣe. Ṣé àwa làwa mọ̀ tá à ń ṣe? Àmọ́ tá à ń ṣe náà. But because àwa náà fi accept pé Britain tí a lọ ń bẹ̀, because èmi rí bíbà tẹ́ pé a lọ ń fẹ́ máa bẹ̀ wọ́n ni pé kọ́ jẹ́ ká lọ. But knowing fully well that Britain ò ní jẹ́ kẹ́ lọ. Britain is not going to tell you, ẹ lọ. No. They created Nigeria. And I think a lot of us still don't understand. Britain ló create Nigeria. Àwọn gangan ló create Nigeria. Kò ń ṣe Lugard. Gbogbo Lugard tá à ń dárúkọ yẹn, òun ló represent Britain. Gbogbo pé à ń pariwo Lord Lugard, no. Lord Lugard kọ́ ni ó wà in charge. Ó ń ṣiṣẹ́ on behalf of the British government. Òun kọ́ ló gbé rẹ̀ lọ síbẹ̀ náà. Lugard kọ́ ló gbé rẹ̀ lọ síbẹ̀. So gbogbo àwa tí a wá rò pé a smart, tí a wá rò pé Britain máa wá fún wa ní access pé ẹ fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation, ẹ fẹ́ gba Biafra nation, àwọn máa wá fi òǹtẹ̀lé, wá fàṣẹ lé lórí. We're going to be wasting our energy and time. And I don't think, we should we should joke with that. So irú èmi pariwo pé ìyẹn kọ́ tẹ̀ send message sí mi pé káyé máa sọ pé a máa declare pé because bá ṣe ń sọ pé a fẹ́ declare yẹn à ń prepare government eré lè rò pa gbé dání ni pé ṣáàtì gbáradì tán ṣáàtì prepare tán tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá wà bold àmì kì í má ní tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá tá a bá wà bold gbogbo wa fún kọ́tà gbé dání we are not going anywhere. Tí a bá wà bold we are not going anywhere. Ojú kan la kàn máa wà forever. We are gonna be a kàn máa wà lójú kan. And the British government will just be working behind the scene. Ebi gbogbo ilẹ̀ rí high commissioner tó ń lọ bí ilẹ̀kẹ̀dí bó ṣe ń lọ òkè ọya ló ń lọ ìsàlẹ̀ ló ń lọ òkè ló ń bá àwọn ọba yín sọ̀rọ̀ ṣé gbogbo wọ̀ rí ni. Everybody knows that. Mo kí àtó bí mi lọ́mọ good morning. But irọ́ la fẹ́ àwa tí à ń wo vision yẹn pé ok ẹni òkè gbogbo èèyàn tí gbọ́ fine tí gbogbo èèyàn bá wá padà gbọ́ náà ṣé Britain máa fi ọwọ́ sí i ká lọ tá bá sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ nílé pé a fẹ́ lọ ìdí báyìí because argument wọn máa ń sọ ni pé àwọn èèyàn gbọ́ wọn mọ reason tá a ṣe fẹ́ lọ ṣé àwọn èèyàn tó ń jẹ̀yà wọ́n máa mọ reason ṣé àwọn èèyàn tó ń jẹ̀yà lójoojúmọ́ tí wọ́n ti jẹun tí wọ́n ti mu and we have to be honest. Ẹ fẹ́ lọ. Ẹ tó ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ nọ́mbà mi, my number is in the public domain. If you Google my number, ẹ bá lọ sórí website mi koikimedia.com, you will always find my number there. Okay. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mo yẹ yín nísìn. Let us remember that nobody gives you what you want if you don't push for it. If you think that anybody will give you what you want, you will wait till thy kingdom come. Gbadebo ó ní you want independent and you run away. Àwọn kan láti wà níta ó ń ṣe literate now, she be educated person here. I'm talking to Gbadebo on the Koiki Oduduwa. I didn't run away. Ìyẹn pé yàn run away. I think what you need to understand is I live in UK all my life, at least for 23 years. So coming to Nigeria was part of the campaign. There's nothing like run away, and I think you need to understand that. It's either you're an illiterate that needs to be educated, because definitely some people have to be outside to. Ẹ wo ṣe sọ pé owó tá a fi ń send sílé pé owó yẹn kò wúlò fún yín. Ṣé báwa là ń send owó wá sílé? Àbó mọ̀ pé mi ni mò ń send owó, ó mọ̀ pé owó tí mò ń send wá sílé ó wúlò fún yín ní Nàìjíríà. Àbí wọ́n sọ fún ẹ pé owó tí àwa diaspora, I am part of the diaspora. Let me educate you, because you are just an illiterate. Because tó bá sọ pé I run away, maybe that's the way you are thinking, and millions of you in that shit hole contraction. Ó ṣe sọ pé owó tí mo send, ó mọ iye tí mo ti send wá sílé látìgbà tí mo ti run away. Ó mọ̀ pé each pound tí mo ní ó ní iye tó ní value ní Nigeria. In the last 2 years, well, I mean, kò tẹ̀ tí pé 2 years. In the last, okay, kí n tẹ̀ sọ pé in the last 20 years tí mo wà ní UK, owó tí mo ti send wá, I'm sure pé family ẹ kò tí rí owó yẹn gan fúnra rẹ̀ nínú Nigeria. That's if you are in Nigeria, and I hope you are in Nigeria. If you want to answer me back, just tell me. And if you are outside, I'll know how to answer you back. So it's not about running away. In every struggle, there will be people outside. Nígbà tí Mandela tó ń ṣe struggle ẹ̀, There are people that were fighting for Mandela from outside during the apartheid. So the word running away and you want independence is a wrong word for you to say. And I know you are a smart person. But it's just that, some of you want to be in that position that I am in. And I can understand. I'm sure visa you will come back and beg me and tell me about the visa to UK. And this is part of the education that we are saying that those of you at home don't have. Because the education is completely corrupt education. It's a corrupt education. I mo ṣe university nílé. Ìyá tó bí èmi ó ti travel lọ sí 23 countries. Sọ ìlú mélòó tí family tiẹ̀ tí wọ́n ti lọ. Kó tó bí èmi ní 1978 ni mọ̀mísí mi ti travel. So the word run away is a complete different thing entirely. So we need to educate some of you. So for me to be outside, the role tí mo lè play nísìn lórí struggle yìí, òun ni mo ń play lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí. I might not play it to the perfect to you, but at least I am playing it to give that pressure to the government. Ṣé báwo ni wọ́n náà ti ń yìnbọn fún yín ní Lekki toll gate lẹ́nìí? Imagine 2 years wọ́n ti sọ àwọn tó pààyàn kò tí sí yàn kankan tó lọ sí prison. Ṣé o mọ̀ pé ní àná Home Secretary tí àwa nílùú tèmi gbé ní bíbá is one of the most powerful person. Tó bá pèèyàn ní Home Secretary, that is the most powerful person in this country. Ṣé o mọ̀ ìdí tó ṣe resign lánàá? I don't think some of you understand that you are living in a shit hole country. And when you use the word pay me run away, what do you mean by run away? Our home office ní Louis wọ́n ní kó resign resignation after 45 days. Ó mọ̀ díṣẹ́ sọ fún ẹ. Ó send the email. Kábíyèsí Elédùmarè àwọn tó wà nílé. Tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá jẹ́ ká kúrò ní Nàìjíríà, ìyàtọ̀ máa fún yín jẹ. It's part of the education. We need to educate the people back home. Part of the reason that I feel late. Because I want people to challenge us and we can educate you. I can block you. There's nothing you can do. They need a program here more. But show me why we're educated. Because there are so many of you like that are thinking in that direction. Ó ti kówó jẹ, ó ti sá lọ, òun ló kó Sunday Igboho sí wàhálà, òun wá lọ jókòó sí London. But one thing you need to understand is the reason she resigned yesterday was she sent email ó dàbí kémi send the email láti inú Gmail mi kí wọ́n send ẹ̀ síta tí kò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ because ó ní ẹ̀tọ́ tí wọ́n ti tò nílùú yìí. That's the reason why she resigned after 45 days. Wọ́n fi sentiment sí pé kó gbé yẹ̀ wò. Imagine a powerful person like the Home Secretary resign her position after 45 days for sending email from her personal email instead of the organization email. Some of you in your federal government, they ní nísìn ẹ ṣì ń lo Gmail. How can a government institution ó lo Gmail? And for you, that is not a problem. So èmi ló wá ń sọ pé mo run away. Èmi ta fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ gba freedom kí ayé ẹ lè better. Kí ayé àwọn family ẹ lè better. Ẹ ronú náà. Ẹ tẹ̀ jókòó kẹ́ rò pé ṣé àwa tá à ń sọ pé ká jẹ́ kí ayé yín ṣe bóun lọ ti yìnbọn pa yín lẹ́gìn nísìn ní Lekki toll gate 2 years down the line. Look, I can live here for the rest of my life. Kí ni ẹ máa lọ ṣe? Ọmọọṣẹ́ ti máa lọ ṣe. I don't need to stress myself. Màá lọ máa fọbọ́ and I'll be living a better life and I don't have to come to Nigeria. Kí ni mo fẹ́ wá ṣe Nigeria? But ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Nigeria, in tí wọ́n máa wá padà ṣe fún yín ẹ̀ nígbàgbé láíláí. Because Fúlàní fẹ́ gbalẹ̀ òun là ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ilẹ̀ là ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ẹ wo lẹ́tà jagbajagba tí British kọ jáde nísìn kí ló kọ sínú lẹ́tà yẹn tó wà wájú mi wọ́n ní àwọn mọ̀ wọ́n ní the UK government shares your concern about the incident of intercommunion violence. Ṣé ọmọ tó ń pè ní intercommunion violence pé à ń bára wa jà èmi àti mùsùlùmí àti kìrìsìtẹ́nì àti oníṣẹ̀ṣe ṣé ìjà yẹn là ń jà ní Nàìjíríà tó fi ń pa gbogbo wa. Ṣó mọ̀ pé àwa tá wà níta the almost $40 billion tá à ń send wá sí Nàìjíríà òun ni Nigerian government fi ń ṣe negotiation níta because each money tá à ń send wá sílé òun náà fi ń fún wọn ní bond lọ́ fi ń yáwó owó tó ń yá yẹn nísìnyí wọn ò fi ṣe the right thing fẹ́yìn omíyalé àgbàrá ya shop òun ni wọ́n sọ pé ní Ogun State mo rántí bí a ti mọ̀ sí mi bá rán mi létí she was in China I think bí 8 years ago nígbà monsoon yẹn lọ́lọ́ àwọn òjò burúkú ṣójò lọ́rọ̀ Nàìjíríà ni àwọn òjò tó ń gbéyàn tó lè gbé gbogbo ilé wọ́n ní tójò ẹ̀ bá ṣe parí báyìí gbogbo drainage yẹn ó máa fa omi yẹn wá sísàlẹ̀ within 3 minutes bómi yẹn ṣe pọ̀ tó wọ́n ní tójò yẹn bá ṣe ń dá pẹ́rẹ́ báyìí ó ti ní kankan tó máa fa omi yẹn wá sísàlẹ̀ Ogun State òun náà ní pé 5,000 ilé 5,000 ó ti wà lábẹ́ omi and you think you are in a country àwọn wá jókòó nísìn à ń pé ká gbọ́ òmìnira káyé wá lè dá òun sọ pé mi run away so I know you are just an illiterate that needs to be enlightened and probably maybe you kàn fi wà ní position tèmi pé àbọ̀ boy wọ́n ṣe máa ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ wọ́n fún lówó nǹkan kan nìkan náà ni I don't blame you and wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń sọ pé illiterate instead of you to ask question òní mi run away I rí pé illiterate ni ṣé mi tí mo 95 ni mo ṣe tán ní secondary school lábẹ́òkúta grammar school provision tí mo ń gbé lọ sí school ní 1990 títí di 1995 tí mo fi ṣe tán I'm sure pé family ẹ̀ kankan wọ̀ ẹ̀ tí ìrírú provision yẹn jẹ láàárọ̀ yìí that's if you are in Nigeria and prove that to me provision tó ń gbé fèmí tí mo ń gbé lọ sí school ní each town nígbà tí mo wà lábẹ́òkúta grammar school and I didn't stay àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ mi mọ̀ ọgbọ́n wò mí báyìí Hong Kong mọ̀mísí mi ti ń lọ sí Hong Kong as far back as in the 80s aago náà lọ́n rà nígbà yẹn lọ́ máa ń tà fáwọn tó wà ní jàǹkàrà ó rẹ̀ pé ẹni tí à ń jẹ́ wà ní àwọn ń sọ pé ìtẹ̀ wà lérí ìyá ń jẹ́ ta fẹ́ gbára wa kúrò nílẹ̀ kẹ́ lè understand kó lè máa ní right ìwọ ní right now ní right nílé and this is why we are saying to some of you that as illiterate as you are àwa tí à ń sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn lẹ́wọ́n tún bí àwọn èlò mi o but let me lè tutọ́ sí mi lára because I will just tell you that you are stupid. But I hope we've been able to educate you rather than block you. So coming back to our conversation, if anybody is waiting for the British government, tí a bá prepare ìtẹ̀wà nílé, tí ẹ bá gbáradì, tí wọ́n bá ti make announcement, kí gbogbo akájáde wàláhì ìyà yẹn máa jẹ gbogbo wa forever ni àtẹ̀mí náà ìtorí èmi ò ní lè wá sí Ìjẹ̀bú Òde because èmi ò tẹ́ǹbà tá a bá ti gba Yorùbá nation tán nísìn I want to go back into the community ní láti gbé lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí ìtàn wá lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bá wà ní Ìjẹ̀bú Òde kí ni mo fẹ́ lọ gbé ní Èkó fún. And this is why we are saying that last lap walawa forget about pa máa kó sójà jáde máa pààyàn ẹni máa kú ẹni máa kú ni then wọ́n send message kan sí mi gbogbo èèyàn ọmọ wa à ń bẹ̀yìn mo mọ̀ pé àwọn ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ kan ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta pẹ̀lú wọn ní àwọn OPC kan mo mọ̀ OPC tó jẹ́ because OPC pé méjì kò ń ṣe ti mẹ́kọ́ there was another incident in Osun State ọ̀nà súnyàn kan the report tí mo gbọ́ ní sí ni pé wọ́n náà ọmọ ẹ̀fẹ́ lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa àwọn ẹ̀fẹ́ máa lọ para yín náà ní gbogbo yẹn ẹni tó dẹ̀ sọ fún mi ó ní kí n jọ ó nítorí pé orí ètò mi láti lè gbọ́ mẹ́sẹ̀jì yẹn dáadáa gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ṣe OPC à ń bẹ̀ yín ni tá a bá tẹ̀ ní ìfòkùnsíra wa nínú kò ń ṣe pé ká máa para wa ó bẹ́tà ká wé ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ energy tẹ̀ ń lò yìí ṣe tọ́jú energy yẹn àti OPC àti OPC Gani Adams àti OPC Frederick Fashaun ẹ̀yin ò ṣe bá wa tọ́jú energy yẹn àti Àgbẹ̀kọ̀yà àtàwọn ọmọ Yorùbá nation nígbà tí rally bá jáde ká wá lóru energy yẹn síta kí lẹ̀ ń fẹ́ para yín fún kò make sense kí lẹ̀ ń para yín fún kò make any sense ẹ jẹ́ á lo energy yẹn ká fi gbalẹ̀ wa padà so mo ń bẹ̀ yín ẹ̀yin ọmọ wa tí wọ́n náà ń gbáradì bẹ́ẹ̀ fẹ́ lọ bá wọn jà ẹ máa pa wọ́n ni ẹ máa pa wọ́n ni àfẹ́kíyàn kan lọ pààyàn kankan. Àwọn tí mò ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n ti mọra wọn, ẹ bá mi sọ fún wọn pé no, we don't need that. What we need now is ká lọ máa prepare mind wa sádùúgbò sí ìletò sí ìletò sí abà gbogbo tólúkálukú bá ní ká lọ máa tọ́jú ẹ̀ pamọ́, ká lọ máa prepare. Àríyá máa jáde pé àní jáde yẹn ẹ fọkàn balẹ̀, èmi ò ní máa ní kẹ́ fọkàn balẹ̀ torí pé tèmi bá ní kẹ́ fọkàn balẹ̀ Ìgbòho ló ń sọ pé kẹ́ fọkàn balẹ̀ nìyẹn, and everybody knows that. Tí bá ní pé ká fọkàn balẹ̀ pé rálì ń bọ̀ kò ń ṣe iyèméjì, ó ń bọ̀ ní ó ti dé tán, it's getting closer. Let's tidy up. It is our right. Tó bá wọn ìjọba, mò ń gbọ́pọ̀ náà prepare, ẹ jẹ́ kó máa prepare. One thing I always say is, ẹni máa kú, ẹni máa kú, òun lọ̀rọ̀ tó fẹ́ jáde nísìn. Ọ̀run yà bọ̀ ní. Kí ni mo sọ? Ọ̀run yà bọ̀. Mo ti sọ fún yín tẹ́lẹ̀, tó bá wọn ayé tó wà ní bíbà kó sọ̀kalẹ̀ wá sísàlẹ̀, Yorùbá máa lọ. Whether you like it or not. Because tẹ́ bá ń dúró pé Britain, America, German lè máa wá, àwọn ò ní táìmù yẹn, wọ́n busy. Mo kí Abalekiti. Wọ́n ní táìmù yẹn. Ní àdúgbò sádùúgbò, a máa jáde tó bá ti pèpè yẹn. And we will do whatever needs to be done. Kò ń ṣe gbogbo nǹkan la fẹ́ sọ lórí social media. Àwọn tá à ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ ọlọ́gbọ́n ó yé gbogbo yín. Sùrùtù tó fẹ́ bá ó yé gbogbo yín. Oníkálukú lọ wọn agbáradì. Èmi náà lẹ́bí nílé. Pé mo jókòó síta ẹ̀ mọ̀ ń sọ pé báyìí mo lẹ́bí nílé. Ọ̀run yabọ̀ ni nígbà tí Britain ń bọ̀, ọ̀run yabọ̀ náà lọ fi ṣe fún wa. Nítorí pé lára àwọn ọba wa, àwọn lọ́tà wá sẹ́rù. Tá bá ti rẹ́dí ẹjẹ́ mọ́ kí lè wind down. Àbọ̀rọ̀ mọ̀ yẹ́ nísìn. Lára àwọn ọba wa, because ìyá máa wonder pé báwo lòyìnbó tẹ̀ ṣe rí wa kó lẹ́rú tó bá ń ṣe pé ẹgbẹ́ àṣírí lé wọn lọ́wọ́. Ṣèbí nǹkan tẹ́ ń ṣe náà nísìn nìyẹn, ẹ̀ ń fún àwọn Fúlàní láṣìírí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. In tí kò jẹ́ kí Fúlàní rí wọ́n ti rí, and they are now thinking that they are more powerful than us. Ẹ̀yin rò pé military structure lẹ́yìn wò, but ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ fún wọn pé ọgbọ́n wà lórí gbogbo wa, kò ń ṣe mí nìkan, kò ń ṣe Ìgbòho ló fẹ́ jáde, gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ló fẹ́ jáde, kò kí ń ṣe Ìgbòho Adéyẹmọ ló fẹ́ jáde, gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá látòkè délẹ̀ ló sọ pé àṣemọ́ pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà. Èyí tá a ṣe pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà ó tó. Kò ń ṣe Chief Sunday Adéyẹmọ ló fẹ́ jáde, gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nílé lóko, kódà tó bá jẹ́ the last thing tó bá ní láyé, ẹ jẹ́ ká involve sínú nǹkan tó wà lẹ́nu sìn. If not, we are not going to have our nation. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ prepare fún. My name is Olawumi Koiki. Kò ní bàjẹ́ fún bàbá Èkìtì. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. I have a lot to do. Tó bá dalẹ̀, àwa sọ̀rọ̀ properly, àgbà call. Gbogbo ẹni tó ti ka lẹ́tà yẹn, ẹ fọkàn yín balẹ̀. Èmi kan táwọn expect tẹ́lẹ̀ náà nìyẹn. Ṣé rò pé Britain máa fún wa láyè ni? Wọ́n ní fún wa láyè. Ẹ sọ fún àwọn ọba wa pé àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá máa jáde. Ẹ lọ bá mi sọ fún wọn pé à ń bọ̀. Kò dẹ̀ sí tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa torí pé àwọn ni bàbá wa. Kó sọ fún federal government. Èmi ò dárúkọ bá kankan, àdẹ̀bú wọn. But ẹ bá wa sọ fún wọn pé àwa ọmọ Yorùbá o, àwọn ọmọ wọn tó bí o, à ń bọ̀. A máa jáde ní jáde tó máa dùn lọ́wọ́ alárinrin. Kó sọ fún federal government pé orí ilẹ̀ wa láti fẹ́ ṣe rálì o, kò ń ṣe north, a kì í ṣe Gàmbàrí, à ń ṣe Málà, a kì í ṣe Gàmbàrí, à ń ṣe Málà. Ilẹ̀ Ìgbò kọ́ láti fẹ́ ṣe rálì o, orí ilẹ̀ wa láti fẹ́ ṣe rálì. Ẹ sọ fún wọn bẹ́ẹ̀. torí àwọn náà máa ránṣẹ́ sí federal government pé à ń bọ̀ kí federal government lè dánwó ẹ̀mú dáadáa kó má jẹ́ pé mo ní sọ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ó dàbọ̀.